morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Chin Ian and I will be your host for today's episode. So we often hear of cases such as 1MDB and famous persons being convicted associated with something called as money laundering. And it's all over the news. Have you ever wondered what is it and why is it such a big deal? So today in this show, we have four distinguished guests with us that can help us understand what is the term and what is it all about. So we have Superintendent Lam Suk Xuan from MACC, Professor Lim Yi Xin from University Malaya, Inspector Irene Koh from PDRM, and Mr. Vincent Ho, a former money launderer, joining us today. Thank you all of you for joining this show today. To kick things off, Superintendent Lam, what exactly is money laundering?
Sure. Money laundering basically start with crimes like claiming, drug dealing, or online scams. Criminals make a lot of cash from this activity, but the money is illegal. They cannot just use it or put in the bank. If they do, the authorities will notice and start investigating. So what do? They try to clean the money so it looks like it coming from a legal source. In other words, they hide where the money really come from. That's why we call it money laundering.
Okay, so thank you. Now to Inspector Koh. So how is all these things being done?
Okay, it usually happens with three stages. The criminals put their dirty money into the financial system by mixing it with legal cash with their legal business. For example, a criminal can mix the illegal money with the profits he gets from his genie restaurant business and then banking in it. But placing money and in large amounts can be suspicious. Usually these businesses are cash-based such as nail parlors, laundromats, cafe, and restaurants. So the criminals deposit it slowly in a small amount. This is called smurfing, breaking large amount of money to smaller, less suspicious one. They may even use different bank branches and different people to make the transfer. The main aim is the same: get dirty money into the system without sounding the alarm. The second stage is layering. Criminals need to make the money hard to trace. They may transfer between bank accounts from one jurisdiction to another. This is enabled by people who are willing to sell their bank account for this kind of use. The criminals might buy assets like cars, art, and even cryptocurrency. They might also invest in real estate and stocks. They also create shell companies, which are businesses that only exist on paper but has no real operation. Each step adds more and more layer to confuse the authorities, thus making it hard for the dirty money to be traced. The third step is integration, and the final step to make the money usable again legally. The criminals might use the already clean money to buy a new house, invest in genie businesses, or support a luxurious lifestyle. Integration is where the money re-enters the economy and loses its criminal origin. That's how criminals use dirty earning into genie legal income. Their methods of money laundering are always changing.
Okay, thank you so much, Inspector Koh. Other than the obvious, which is helping criminals stay in business, how does money laundering harm people and society in general? Professor Lim, can you enlighten us on this?
Yes, this gives criminals the money they need to grow their illegal businesses. When dirty money is used to bribe officials to get advantages, corruption gets even worse. It harms the economy, especially in developing countries like us, because it destroys price and takes away public resources. Honest businesses suffer because they can't compete with those that only care about making money through illegal laundering activities. Property price may rise abnormally and the governments could lose billions of dollars in tax revenue. That money could have been used to build, maintain, and improve schools, hospitals, and other public services.
Ooh, that sounds really scary. Mr. Ho, as someone who have experience in this kind of operations, what are the red flags that all of us should be looking out for?
There are many red flags or warning signs of money laundering to look out. What I'm about to share are just some main ones, but not an exhaustive list of red flags. Business have to be vigilant to suspicious transaction in order to protect themselves. The first red flag is unusual transaction size or pattern. For example, a small cafe or restaurant suddenly receiving a transfer of a huge amount of money with no clear business justification. Then there are excessive use of cash, especially when the business model usually involves checks or banker's draft. Suspicious customer behavior is also another red flag. For example, when a customer is refusing to give a valid ID and seems secretive. We also should be alert towards businesses that have lack of clear business objective. There's also a tactic known as structuring, where a large sum of money are split into smaller transactions to avoid reaching and having to report threshold. Structuring involves one criminal that is responsible for making all the transactions usually into a single account. Smurfing is similar, but instead of relying on just one criminal, it involves several persons. The Smurf will make deposit into a number of different accounts at different banks. Lastly, and most probably, the most obvious red flag is the unexplained source of wealth. Further verification is crucial if a customer's declared income or business doesn't explain their level of wealth.
Okay, thank you all for all your insights. This has surely been a very eye-opening and informative sessions. Thank you all once again. Bye.